Boom! Yes folks, Hume again. Welcome to yet another video in our series, the election selection, where we profile and we analyze and we discuss the marginal seats in Trinidad and Tobago with a view to trying to get a sense of what could happen on the night of August the 10th for the general election. Alright, remember that my definition of marginal is any seat that would have changed hands at least once over the course of the last three electoral cycles, 2007, 2010 and 2015. In this video we're going to deal with the marginal seat of St. Joseph. Alright, and we have a few interesting things to say about St. Joseph. So I'm going to start as always by making the projection, and then in this case, this is one of the cases where I will have to really qualify the projection. So there will be some seats where I can say, alright, PNM, UNC, and then I can just leave it there and walk away with it. But St. Joseph, yeah, is a kind of catchy kind of scenario, and it kind of, we had to watch it. So with all that said, I am making the projection based on my analysis, making the projection of St. Joseph as a PNM seat. Right? So I am saying that based on all the factors that we have available to us so far, St. Joseph appears to be heading to the PNM column. So I would put it in the PNM column. We will do the analysis now, and then when we finish with the analysis, we will come back here on the whiteboard and have a short little discussion. You know, we like to end anything nice. We like to do it nice. Alright? So let me go to the graph. Alright. So we're looking again, we're starting from 2007 as we always do, where the non-PNM vote in 2007 was 53.2% and the PNM vote was 46.6%. Of course, this is one of those seats in 2007 that the PNM won, where it can be said fairly that one of the reasons why the PNM probably won that seat is because of the splitting of the votes in the non-PNM coalition. Alright, so let me just recite the figures just for the sake of clarity. Alright, in St. Joseph, the PNM would have totaled 7,965 votes. 7,965. And the sum total of the two non-PNM combatants, the UNC and the COP, was 9,090. So we would have had 4,945 and 4,145. I'm not in a position to say clearly which party those votes would have gone to, but that is a breakdown. Alright? So in 2007, the PNM, even though it polled a minority of votes overall by just about 6.6%, right? So in other words, the non-PNM coalition topped the PNM votes by 6.6% in 2007, and the PNM was still able to carry that seat. Alright? Fast forward to 2010, when the non-PNM coalition all came under one umbrella, the People's Partnership. In this case, their voter count went from 53.2 to 57.9, and the PNM voter count went down from 46.6 to 41.6. So the PNM suffered a 4% decline between 2007 and 2010, and in that case, they would have lost St. Joseph by quite a handy margin, just about 15.7%, somewhere there, about 16.3% actually, yeah, 16.3%. And then we fast forward to 2015, where the PNM was able to reverse the order of things. We went to 53.8% for the PNM in 2015, which is just marginally above the combined percentage of the UNC and the COP in 2007. So that's 53.8% for the PNM in 2015, and the non-PNM vote went down from 57.9 to 46.2. So that is a drop of 11.7%, right, between 2010 and 2015 for the non-PNM coalition. So looking at the trend lines here, you see the PNM vote and the UNC vote continues to diverge away from each other. So this pattern suggests that the PNM could carry St. Joseph, PNM should carry St. Joseph on the face of all available evidence in 2020. The actual numbers that I got with my projection for 2020 was just about 55% for the PNM and about 45-46% for the UNC. So in this case, if the pattern holds, we're looking at the classic 55-45 scenario where the PNM carrying the day in in St. Joseph in 2020. So we're going to go back now to the whiteboard and conclude with a little discussion on the marginal seat of St. Joseph. All right. So St. Joseph, St. Joseph, St. Joseph. Very curious seat. Right? We would have seen sharp swings for and against in both the cases of the PNM and the non-PNM vote. So this seat is definitely one of those seats where it's a responsive seat. The seat is responsive to the national sentiment. So you find St. Joseph will generally follow the national sentiment, right? Anytime you have a sharp anti-PNM or in the case in 2015 a sharp anti-UNC sentiment, St. Joseph generally tends to follow that. All right, and I mean that is one of the real signs of a marginal constituency. It tends to follow the national sentiment. Of course, Barataria San is a curious exception to that general trend, that general rule, right? Because even though they would have followed the trend in 2010, when it was time to vote out the PNM, in 2015, even though the PNM would have recorded a sharp increase, we saw that even then, still Barataria San wasn't able to get to the point of actually putting a UNC member of parliament in place in Barataria San. Why do I spend so much time talking about Barataria San in a St. Joseph video? The reason why is that I would have been speaking to somebody from the St. Joseph community within the last week or so, and the person indicated something to me that immediately resonated, right? The person said that while they felt that St. Joseph was headed more towards the PNM side, if it happens that the PNM were to lose St. Joseph in this election, then chances are Barataria San could be counted almost as lost immediately. So in other words, what he's saying is that if on the 9th of August, the 10th, we're looking at the election results and we see PNM lose St. Joseph for some reason, then it would almost automatically follow that Barataria San don't even bother about it. That's possible. I mean, these seats kind of tie to each other. They kind of connected, St. Joseph, Barataria San very, I mean, neighboring seats, and it kind of have a connection between those two. Tunapuna to a lesser extent, but those two kind of have a connection, even though Barataria San didn't really reflect the national sentiment in terms of the final outcome in 2015. So we'll keep an eye on that. All right. So we're placing St. Joseph in the PNM column, but we're doing it in a kind of guarded fashion. St. Joseph is definitely one of those seats where the PNM cannot afford to get too comfortable in terms of campaigning, in terms of expectation. All right, this is one of those seats where they have to go to the last, where they have to pull every available sinew, stretch every available muscle to make sure and bring on the vote. Because this seat is a seat where if too much people decide to stay home, we could have a very interesting voter count. Right? But again, we're saying all of this, and we have to consider the other variables, the new votes, maybe people who didn't vote before, all of these things. So there are a lot of variables in play, but based on the patterns that we could discern so far at this point in time, again, St. Joseph appears to be heading more or less towards a PNM victory, but it is one of those seats where you better be careful, to quote a line from the late great Merchant, right? Because St. Joseph is a funny seat. St. Joseph is definitely one of the most marginal seats in the country, and I mean, it's right up there in the rankings. All right, tied for third with Tunapuna. So, as we wind up now, I could go back to one of the things I do in all of these selection videos, which is to talk about my mathematics. All right, first of all, we have the online platform, the road to January. That is already on stream and running as we speak. All right, we finished a couple topics already: Pythagoras theorem, trigonometry. We're going on to straight lines next week. All right, and we push around a little further, and we're doing a certain quantum of work so that when we start in September, you know, September is when everybody's brain does start to click on where it comes to school. So we don't want to be starting from scratch in September. All right, we're going forward, as the trade union people say, forward ever, backward never. So if you or anybody you care about is doing the CSEC mathematics exam, Form 4 student going into Form 5, Form 5 student who just did the exam in July and have to write it over in January or June to get a proper grade, even the private students, get on board. This is a platform where you could work at your own pace, on your own time. There's so much material in there, you're probably likely to get lost at the beginning. All right, but once you get into it and you start to feel your way around, man, in the game, you could do what you want whenever you want in a nice structured environment, and you always have the option to ask a question and make a contact if you have some kind of issue. All right, St. Joseph, you're looking for face-to-face classes starting from September, then my class is a must. Right, we started in September, and we will be starting at the point where the online platform would have ended at, well, not ended, reached, because the online platform extends right through until January into June next year. But wherever we reach with the online platform at the end of August, that will be the starting point for the face-to-face class. So in other words, we're not going to start in September with ratio and significant figures and decimal places and them kind of thing. Right? I have 2 videos in the online setup right now on significant figures, standard form, decimal places. That is a topic that I absolutely refuse to teach. And I'm teaching it again. Right? I make almost an hour footage on those 3 topics, and the video is nice and well put together. You watch that video, you have no problem once you decide to put your mind to it and practice. Alright? So we're moving forward with the syllabus. We're rolling in September wherever we reach at the end of August. Right? So if you or anybody interested in, if you or anybody that you care about is interested in the maths, whether the online road to January or the face-to-face session, just contact me, 293-5712. I'm going to call the number again, 293-5712, and you'll see the little dialog box below the video screen on Facebook to send me a WhatsApp. Alright? So, and of course, before I go, the AdMaths people, we have something coming for you just now. It's coming. And when it reaches, we will make the relevant announcement. Alright? So take care, keep good, stay up, and look out for more. We have plenty more coming.